How can you manage one-off tasks in ProcessKit? Sometimes you have these tasks that just come and go. They're not really, fully repeatable projects or processes. They're just one-off tasks that need to get done by you or somebody else on your team. So how can you take care of those inside ProcessKit? Let me show you. When you open up a new ProcessKit account, you have this projects view, and then you have a project type called project. So that can be used for, say, larger generic projects. But for the smaller tasks, why don't we create a separate project type called task? Let's go ahead and do that. And so now up here, we have both project and task. And we can just click task to fire up a new task. And we'll give this a title. Let's call it Fix the Website. Just an example. All right, so now we have a task called Fix the Website. And now that we're on this task, we can write some notes about it, and we can also add processes. Now, you don't need to add a process built off of one of your templates. You can just create one from scratch, and this is like a one-off process, one-time process. And here's where you can just drop in little to-dos, to do 1, to do 2, and so on. Now, what if you find that even though you have a lot of these tasks that are, one-off and they're different every time, they still have a few steps in the process that you almost always do all the time, no matter what the task is? Well, that's where you can start to use a very basic process template. So let's go back, and this time we're going to go to our processes and just create our kind of a generic task process. So let's create a new process. Let's just call this our task process. And we know that every time we do any task, we need to do just a couple of things, like turn on our billing timer. And we need to notify a manager. And we'll also need to invoice the client. Now, these aren't super specific, but we know that no matter what the task is, chances are we probably have to do all of these things, right? So we have this process template built out, and let's go back to our projects. Now, we've already created our task project type, but this time let's go into its settings and preload the task process. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and create another task. Let's call this task prune the email list. We're going to create that. And now we have our default steps on this task. And now we can add to this, for example, we want to open the email software and prune the email list. Of course, you'll want to put in, more details than that, maybe put in instructions and images and videos and whatnot. But now we've added these special one-off steps to this one-off task, and we have the other steps that we almost always need to do. And by adding these one-off steps, we have not changed our process template. We've only added to this one instance of it. Now, of course, you can add additional processes, and again, you can create new ones from scratch, or you can use any of your templates. But that's how you can manage one-off tasks in ProcessKit. Now, just a couple more quick tips on this. If you ever just don't want to see the About section or the activity or any of these sections, really, you could always minimize them. And anytime you come back to this task, those will remember those states. The other thing that I want to mention is if you go back to your list of all different projects, let's say that you've started to add other projects and other types of projects. If you only want to see your tasks, you can just filter by the task. And now we're only seeing those one-off tasks. So that's how you can manage your one-off tasks in ProcessKit.